What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Outfielder podcast, episode 136, presented by Sensibly Loud Media. I am your host, J-Mac, a.k.a. Founder Numero Uno, and I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Popfly himself, Founder Numero Dos, Ben.
Buy one, get one half off. Bogoho.
Baseball, Ben. What's going on, my friend?
Hello, and welcome back to the Outfielder pod. Hi, everyone. It's your boy, Ben Baseball. Hey, J-Mac, how you doing?
I'm embarrassed. I just had a bad technical blunder there because the best part about that drop is that you're pondering the idea of like buy one, get one half off. And you like ask at the end, is that a thing? And then it just ends. And I talked over it. So that's on me.
Well, you know what? Even that little cut at the end, is that a thing, is a decent standalone drop.
It is. It should definitely be a standalone drop. I'm doing well otherwise, Ben. I miss being back here. It's good that we are doing this right before the season starts. We apologize for being off for a month. You know how things go. It's just it's a little hectic. So season predictions today, though, which I'm super stoked about. The Outfielder prediction. Is this our fourth one?
Yeah, I think it is. Basically, we started out back in 2017, so this would be season 4 of the Outfielder podcast. So definitely super jazzed, super excited. Yeah, I think we got a ton in store. In fact, before we begin podcast proper, can I give you a bit of a story?
Of course.
So, I don't know if y'all know this, but there's been a pandemic for the last year. It's been pretty rough. Yeah, exactly. So basically, if you, I started getting my shot. So I got my first round COVID shot a couple weeks back. Super stoked. I got a call from the county saying, hey, come on by for first or second round. Sign up. I signed up. Everything was golden. So I went, and it was going to be a drive-through one this time, which was different than my first one. I waited in the drive-through line 56 minutes for them to tell me that there was a mistake, and I can't do it till next week.
Oh, no. What kind of mistake was it?
That I had the 4-week wait instead of the 3-week wait, and that the county shouldn't have contacted me to schedule my vaccine. So drove 40 minutes to Fort Worth, proper like downtown, down by the zoo, and now it's good.
We'll skip over the zoo part of it. Is so they couldn't just give it to you at that point? I mean,
no, they were like, I'm sorry, it has to be the full 4 weeks, or within 48 hours of the date we wrote on the back of your card.
Why didn't you just scratch the date out?
Yeah, well, let me just fake this medical document, sir.
Would that be the whole thing where you're like, hold on a minute, you turn around and kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm doing a scratch off.
Exactly.
No, I misspoke. It wasn't by the zoo. It was down by across from the Botanic Gardens in Fort Worth. But still, it was pretty good. Happy to do it. I highly recommend everyone going out and get their arm poke as soon as possible.
Yeah, I'll be getting mine here pretty soon as well. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm pretty excited the fact that it's going to take us back to being able to like watch baseball and person, and all of that. I think that's going to be really key to my mental sanity, because quite honestly, it's been a weird like year and a half in terms of like how I view sports and how I look at all this, because it kind of puts in perspective the importance of different things and all this, right? And more importantly than that, though, like without players playing and a lot of players didn't play last season, or some didn't, and there was different things going on with that. It felt like a real season by the time we got to the playoffs, because that wasn't really that changed, other than the fact that they only played 60 games leading to it.
Yeah,
but the regular season was hard for me to get into, man. And on top of that, the Red Sox were terrible, so it didn't like fuel me to watch a lot of baseball, and I hate that. And I'm looking forward to everything kind of being full squad back. Now we're looking at complete rosters and whatnot.
Yeah. Full squad back. I agree completely. It definitely helps put it in perspective, because even without sports, the world keeps on spinning. But we all got to have our passions, and if you love if you love some baseball, you've come to the right place, and we're happy to have you here so we can talk it through. Yeah, I think the playoffs felt pretty normal last year. For me, last year became, and it could also be because my Rangers were terrible, but for me, last year was less of a vested interest and more of a, oh, this is good background noise.
Correct. That's exactly how it felt to me too, and it's never really felt that way.
No.
As a general rule from the years I've spent watching this sport. And, it's a little bit of a different perspective. I think in a way it was good. I tanked our fantasy season last year completely. Like I played for like the first week and then I just deleted the app entirely. And how unlike me that is, but my team was terrible. So I needed I needed that second pick overall in the draft that I get this year. I needed some help overall just to revamp things. And, Sam's kind of he kind of ran away with things anyway, from a fantasy perspective. So it's, it is what it is. You're looking to make a good going this year, it sounds like.
I hope so. We shall see. I think I'm picking 5th or 6th because I was right in the middle of the pack last year, but it's good. I have a good squad of keepers. I'll actually bring up a few of them when we go through our predictions and rankings this year. But super stoked. We're actually drafting tomorrow, so hopefully we'll get some good, potentially maybe a few little bits of content out of that. I do have one other baseball note for you.
Okay.
So, my friend, today, gonna go around the corner to go next door, but my wife had to have a root canal. As a result, she wasn't into like eating a big meal tonight. So I went and picked up smoothies at the local smoothie hub and emporium.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
They're a sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to figure out which players associated with them, but actually I've come up with one because the person who was in front of me in line was wearing a Cardinals jersey. And normally I'd be like, Cardinals are a good historic team. Hate the 2011 version, but, nothing against the overall Cardinals. And what should I notice? It's not a modern Cardinal he's wearing. That dude was repping a 50s Slam and Stan Musial jersey.
Wow. Didn't that guy just die recently? There was a reason we were talking about Stan Musial. What was that?
I don't remember exactly why we were talking about him. All I can say is I actually pulled up some of his numbers.
Okay.
This dude's career WAR, 128.
That's pretty good. So give us the years he played, and let's break that down for just a second. Even though it seems like probably the second time in recent memory that he's come up.
Yeah, so we're gonna go a little deeper. He played 41 to 63. That means he played.
Okay.
He had a brief gap in 45 because of military service in World War II.
Right.
But he started in his first pitch in the majors was during the FDR administration.
Jesus Christ.
And his last year in the majors was the last year Kennedy was in office. Like,
oh my God. Speaking of the Cardinals and whatnot, as I was doing research, so I think one of the funnier parts about doing research for this year's fantasy draft and then also this predictions episode is that I was looking back at some of the stats and just things that happened. There were some obvious things, like you had Trevor Bauer and Shane Bieber win the Cy Young Award, some obvious stuff like that. But like there are things that I just kind of like forgot about just in general, about like how bad the Astros were up until they got to the playoffs and how they kind of started to catch fire. I've forgotten that the Cardinals, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but the Cardinals had the 28th ranked offense last year. So what did they do? They went out and traded for Nolan Arenado. I mean, you can't really improve your offense much more than having Paul Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado on your team. I mean, it's unbelievable that they went out and did that. I mean, I'm not surprised. It's just how they roll. But
so, like, good for them. They ended up finishing last year. They were second place in the division. They were 3 back of the Cubbies. So their win percentage was .517.
Okay.
The reason I'm bringing up win percentage is because it was a truncated season. They didn't even play all 60 games because they had some COVID stupidity happening. So they only played 58 games.
What's the lowest amount of games that were played? Do we know?
I would have to run some quick spreadsheet math, but it looks like
it was pretty balanced, probably.
It looks like most teams got a full 60. Who was the other team that had the mess up? Was that the Marlins?
It was the Marlins, yeah. And they were off.
They played 60.
They did. They made those games up somewhere.
Looks like only the Cardinals played 58.
So it makes a huge difference whenever you know that extra innings, it works, differently in terms of having a guy on second and not going over, a certain amount. So I think, though, it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out over a long season, because it's really hard. Like, I'm decent at like understanding numbers in relation to other numbers when it comes to like when you're comparing a 60 game season versus 162, but like baseball's so weird that way, where you just need those longer periods of time to like get on a streak and get going, and you're gonna have times that are not good, and you just have to keep going, and I think it's hard to kind of compare a 60 game season to the rest of it. That was always kind of my objection to it. I understood why they did it. I understood we talked a lot about how they could have been the first ones back and they weren't, and all that. That aside, really, I think it's really interesting. Well, in terms of like how it looks in the stat books, I guess is probably what I want to say.
100%. I even tried to pull up, like if you extrapolate the win percentage from 2020, what would that be mathematically? And then my head hurt, so I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Brief pause, and then I'll jump back in. I do want to give a shout out to that dude. I talked to him and complimented his jersey, told him about the pod. So if you're listening, kid in the Slam and Stan jersey, way to go. Hope you enjoyed your smoothie.
How old did this jersey look?
Well, the jersey looked brand new. Like, and I asked him, I was like, dude, is that a Slam and Stan jersey? And he was like, you know who that is? And I was like, of course I know who that is. I have a baseball podcast. And he didn't really talk like that. But he said he picked it up at the Hall of Fame. I was like, oh, that makes sense. Anyway, so the point I wanted to make about the 60 game season, do you remember what the longest hitting streak in the majors is that Joe DiMaggio did? So it was 1941.
41.
And he broke.
This is a hit streak?
Yeah, the prior single season record of consecutive games with a hit, it was 44, and DiMaggio demolished it by hitting 56, hitting safely in 56 straight games.
That's absurd.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is last year the Cardinals only played 58 games.
Yeah.
So like that's just some of the anomalies of that.
Just the length of that streak is incredible, but like when you compare it to the fact that they basically played that in a full season, I don't know. I don't know how this will be looked at in like 5 years. I think I'll have better perspective.
Yeah.
I hate to kick the can down the road as far as 5 years. So, 5 years from now, mark episode 136, you'll be back to it. We'll be on like episode 600 or something by then. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah,
you're not.
That's right. Well, one other final note on DiMaggio. Did you know that after he missed the streak, he started another one and hit safely in the following 15 games as well? So he had a span where one game in 73 did he not hit safely.
I mean, if you're trying to show off.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's 50 something is impressive. 11, 12, 17, whatever, not that impressive.
Yeah.
Should be better. Should be better. I don't know. I mean, I didn't marry Marilyn Monroe. He did. Good point. I saw that. Did you happen to see that picture that I put in our Slack of, I think it was of, let me find it real quick. It was of Fred McGriff on the cell phone on first base.
God, dude, yes.
What an unbelievable picture! I'll post that on our social media later. So
that's awesome.
Great picture.
Absolutely.
One other note before we get into predictions and whatnot. Did you happen to see that story about the Chicago Cubs prospect that got busted at spring training with 21 pounds of meth in his equipment bag?
Dude, yes. What in the heck?
So first of all, the pictures were incredible of all of it, because there's no way all 21 pounds worth would fit in your your bag, right? Is that
right? Like that dude must be like Tetris king of packing. And I don't know this. I've never done meth. I don't plan on doing meth. I
Tell
don't
you what,
recommend doing meth, but I feel like that's a lot.
I feel like it's a lot too. I'm right there with you. I think we should send the interns out to buy this 21 pounds worth of meth, and we can mythbuster this. I mean, we're not going to, we're not going to dabble in the meth or anything, but we can mythbusters this thing and find out what's really going on here. I mean, why was this guy bringing it to spring training though?
I mean, he had to be working a distribution operation. And I think that reminds me of my favorite Mythbusters quote is, if you write it down, it's science. If you don't write it down, you're just messing around.
So where's that fall for this show? Is it somewhere in the middle, I think?
I would like to say that we have an oral record.
Yeah, we do. We got rid of all those stone slabs. We got tired of carrying them around.
You know what? God bless Jimmy Midtown and his sore back from having to lug those from location to location.
I know, right? But seriously, though, I guess I don't really understand. Is it possible to even sneak that in your bag, or is it like he had to have known?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not, not trying to try this case in the court of public opinion.
All this is alleged.
That's I'll let the lawyers figure that out. But I could see where someone put like a small baggie in his bag.
Yeah,
but it would require a fair amount of
arranging.
Like I would say like mental aerobics to imagine a scenario where someone could put that many pounds of anything in my luggage and me not notice.
Yeah, 21 pounds. I mean, you could put Sherman in your luggage and not notice sooner than you would not notice that, I feel like.
Right. Here's Mr. Nelson, we found you with 21 pounds of Pokemon cards. Oh, those aren't mine. How'd that get in there? Like, dude, what the heck?
Great Sambino.
Yeah.
So
just insane.
I just, I mean, obviously you pretty much have to go to like Costco or Sam's to buy that amount of meth. So, I mean, obviously there was something going on here. Obviously this dude's probably going to be in jail for quite some time. I wonder if there's a compensatory pick involved in that. There probably should be, right? If your guy gets arrested.
That's a good point.
Maybe if it's over 15 pounds or something like that, they instate that rule. I mean,
there's a threshold.
You get a compensatory first or like late first round or something like that. Or what is it whenever they like create a new team, they do like a what's that called? It's not a supplemental draft. It's like I don't know. They basically divide out talent from around the league, which
is just incredible.
I really hope that we get to see that again at some point in the coming.
Yeah. Hey, get a team, like we said, get a team in Montreal, get the Nashville Hot Chickens, the New Orleans Baseball Pelicans, and what was the Buffalo that Sam came up with? Missoula? Where was that?
It was
Cheyenne.
Cheyenne sounds right. It was in one of the Dakotas, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't remember. Wyoming, Dakotas, like it was. We'll have to check the tapes on that, but we've already pitched 4 teams with mascots with logos like. The ideas are there. Plus, throw one in Portland. We'll give another one to Texas. Like, plenty of ideas.
Texas doesn't need another baseball team.
All right. We'll send one down to Mexico and make it a true North American sport.
There you go. Yeah, that's there you go. See, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking outside the box. All right. We've babbled on long enough about nonsense. Let's talk about more nonsense and get into these predictions. How about that?
That's right. Would this qualify for Around the Diamond intro music or not really?
I think so. Let me see if I have it on the board. Please just yak aimlessly while I try to find that.
So this weekend I went to a World War I reenactment, and I got to tell you, there was a 75 millimeter pack howitzer behind me, and it really, really brought the situation to life with the booming of the cannon, the trench wall shuddering, the 1917 water
schedule. Here's the Mets schedule.
Oh no, not this guy! Don't give me that guy. For those turn that asshole off. That's the dude up in New York who will just say the schedule of a baseball team. Okay.
I'm really hoping that they have him on here pretty soon for the I need to look and see if they have. I haven't seen it out there to see if he did this year's as just a guess thing. Keep going about the howitzer.
No, I cannot imagine a worse because now I'm self-conscious about me babbling and that I'm just becoming April 15th. the Mets are in town, or whatever.
Yeah. Well, at least you don't have to worry about that. I don't think that we have that on the board, unfortunately.
Hey, that's all right.
We'll
In
find
that
it
case,
later.
get ready to
Around
go
the diamond.
around the diamond. That's right. So the American League East is where we tend to start. For context, last year, the East went as follows. From worst to best, we had the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Rays. So anyway, where do you have the East ranking out, J-Mac?
All right. So I'm going to give you the team. So I'm going to go the order from first to fifth. I'm going to go the team and then the record, and then we'll kind of talk through them.
Awesome.
So number one, I have the Yankees winning 97 games and losing 65.
Okay.
Just behind that, I struggled with these two a lot. I think the Blue Jays are still a little bit young, and they're going to show that as far as how they go. So, or as how the growth curve kind of goes. So, I'm giving them 93 wins and 69 losses.
Okay.
I'm giving the Rays 86 wins and 76 losses. The Red Sox are going to go exactly 500 at 81 and 81.
Okay.
And the Orioles are going to lose 60 or win 62 games and lose 100.
Sounds about right. So let me just make sure I have this. You have the Blue Jays overtaking the defending AL champs.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I think they should be better. They should be a lot better.
Okay.
Adding George Springer. You got Kevin Biggio. You've got what's his name? Not all I can think of is Tatis, not Tatis. The Vlad Guerrero Jr.
Yeah.
Vlad Guerrero Jr. They've upgraded their pitching. They're a young team. They're a good team. They may not quite be there yet. I could see a world where Tampa Bay maybe finishes ahead of them, but I don't think so. They're certainly going to be better than the Red Sox and the Orioles, though. I know that.
So I agree with that. I actually gave it a slight different ranking.
Okay.
I don't have the Blue Jays overtaking the Rays, but I do have the Yankees. So just like you, I have the Yankees in my top spot, followed by the Rays, then the Blue Jays, right on their heels. Red Sox and Orioles is how I have it going. What does Jimmy say every year about the Orioles? Well, hey, Camden Yard is a great place to watch a ball game.
It is. It's a great place to watch a ball game.
I don't have win-loss totals, but that's how I have the AL East shaking out.
Okay, that's fine. I would also, the other thing about Tampa Bay that worries me just a tad is that they did lose Blake Snell. So traded to the Padres. So, he was a Cy Young winner the year before last. So it's not like he's an insignificant part to what they were doing. So I do think they take a little bit of a step back. I think that's a good opportunity for the Blue Jays there.
Okay.
And the Orioles are just still rebuilding. That's really all that's going on there.
They're going to be rebuilding for a long time.
For sure.
Which is sad.
Kinda. They had a run where they were pretty good when Dan Duquette built the team. They had a good run for a while, and where they were pretty competitive. When it comes to the Red Sox, I think it's going to be really interesting to watch Cora's first year back, what that's going to look like. I think that's good for the team. You remember what I told you last year, whenever the manager asked if the reporter had any ideas of how we could maybe make the team better. That's not really what you're looking for.
What did he say?
A reporter was in the locker room and he asked him, he said, things have been a little tough so far, hadn't been a great start out of the gate. What ideas do you have to get things turned around and, kind of get things moving in the right direction? Kind of a standard, softball type question for any coach or manager to answer. And he just said, I don't know. Do you have any ideas? So
jerk.
But I don't think he meant it. It didn't see the way he said it. It didn't seem like he meant it to be a jerk. I think he really actually I don't think he necessarily meant it to be a serious question.
Yeah.
But it doesn't inspire confidence, I guess.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
That sounds like something I would say.
Exactly. What would you do?
I don't know, man. I'm open.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a big part of this. I think he's going to communicate with players better. They got Benintendi out of there, which I'm disappointed about, but I think he probably needed a fresh start.
Yeah.
He's in Kansas City now. I don't love it, but you already have Jackie Bradley Jr. gone, so it doesn't really matter.
That was actually exactly where I was about to go. Where did JBJ end up? Because I know Betts is in Los Angeles.
JBJ ended up with the Brewers
Okay.
on a 1-year deal, or maybe 2 years. But
Well, a short-term deal.
yeah, and good for him, man. He's not great at the plate, but he's a fantastic defensive outfielder. So I think that they're moving on. I don't think that they did enough this season, but I mean, they're going to have Chris Sale back. He's looked excellent in spring training. They're going to have Eduardo Rodriguez back. He was out all year with COVID last year. Like, he got hit early, and I think he had some complications from it or something.
Yeah.
So he was out majority of the year. So, I mean, they're getting a big part of their rotation back, which is going to be helpful. I mean, the Alex Verdugo guy, we've had our issues with him. We've talked about him plenty on this show as far as some real creepy things that happened in the past, but he was the main centerpiece of the Mookie trade. And so, I mean, I'm hoping to see something out of him this year. They have an excellent first baseman named Bobby Dahlback, who's come up, and he was actually one of my keepers in fantasy baseball. And he has been excellent in spring training and seems to have a long-term, hole that they are a fill for the hole that they need at first base. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be interesting to watch, but I don't think they're going to be a whole lot better than 500. They're not nearly as competitive as the other teams in the division.
It doesn't help that they're in a really competitive division.
Yeah, really in a weird time. Like, they just, it really is true. Like, someone was I was talking to somebody about this the other day. It really is the price that you pay for winning a championship. Like, man, like, it's fucking great, but like, the after years of it are just brutal to watch, and it's just a money-making operation,
So as a Ranger fan, I wouldn't know. Screw you.
But like, so, okay, let me pose this real quick. And this is just kind of a wild one-off tangent. Would you I know you'd almost always in every scenario rather have the ring, but like, it was almost harder to watch them just sort of try to relight that stove over and over again and just couldn't quite do it. Just couldn't capture that magic that they captured originally.
No, I would always take the ring.
Yeah, I think so too. But that was tough to watch. It was a teardown of like, glacier moving type speed. Like, not.
It's a very slow motion car crash here in Arlington.
Well, it's fine. I mean, they're going to be bad this year on purpose. We'll get to them. All right, we'll get to them.
All right, well, let's move on to the American League Central. So for context, last year in our truncated season, from best to worst, the Twins won the division, followed by can we call them rebuilt yet, Chicago White Sox? The nameless Cleveland team ended in the middle of the pack. The Royals in the second to last spot, and the lowly Tigers were the dredge of the division. Where do you have it for this year?
All right, so I think we criticized. I'm starting to see a pattern here. The amount of things we criticize on this show, but
we're a very criticism-centric show.
It's true. We have a lot of problems with people, and they're going to hear about it. I think ultimately Tony La Russa was a pretty good hire. I think someone like that brings a lot of like experience into the room, and I know that's like a given and the whole idea, but like, that means more than you think it does in the context of just like, I don't really, it's like, walking in the room and just like, spilling your guts out on the table and showing like, I got this, like, I'm good, like, I don't have anything to prove here. Like, whether this goes well or not is not about me. And I think that's like a rare thing that old baseball guys kind of have.
Yeah,
I really respect that about him. I always have, and I mean, he's a weird character. I think for me, I have a hard time knowing what to do with Tony La Russa. I mean, he's obviously been a big voice in this game for a long time, and I'm
200 years,
250 minimum. But I'm surprised that he's gone back to this. But I think he's going to know what to do with these young pieces better than just about anybody out there, regardless of new baseball lore and all that stuff.
So, number one, you're still not off the hook. You're going to have to give me your projections, but I definitely agree with you, because I think that when you feel like you have the right pieces in place, getting the right leader is key.
Yes.
And someone with that level of experience is going to be so critical because he's seen the highest of highs, but he's also seen the lowest of lows. And so he'll know how to get maximum production out of these players and how to get them sort of in line with like a higher identity. Because say what you want about, the Cardinals in their heyday under La Russa, like he was able to turn mid-level players into maybe not superstars, but at least names that you would know.
For sure. And I think it's so interesting that there's a weird balance of like, there's some situations where you need like a young, like new thinking type of manager, and then there's situations where you just need experience. And like Joe Girardi is a great example of that, of hiring him for the Phillies. Like he comes with a good amount of experience and he can back that up. And I think that matters in a lot of these kinds of cases with young teams. So I have the White Sox winning 94 games and losing 68. I think they're going to be pretty much on top no matter what here, though. Coming in at a close second, I have the Twins winning 92 games and losing 70. I have the Cleveland baseball team, is what I dubbed it, winning 80 games, losing 82. I have the Royals winning 78 games, losing 84. And I have the Tigers winning 64 games. And I'm sorry, winning 64, losing 98. Do you know who the manager of the Tigers is?
No, they don't even know.
You're gonna be furious when you find out who it is.
Who is it?
It's AJ Hinch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right.
That went under the radar real nicely, didn't it?
That must have been one of our off weeks, because that didn't even make, like you said, that didn't even make my radar at all.
That was like in November, December timeframe when they hired him. It's completely off the radar. I'd forgotten about it until I was researching this too.
Man.
And what did I say whenever we did those episodes where we tore down the Astros and the Red Sox?
You said they'll both be back.
Both of them, no doubt about it.
Man, like big middle fingers to that guy and
like,
Alex Cora.
Don't you think, though, if baseball didn't want that to happen, they would have stopped it?
I feel like that this is the tinfoil hat portion of our podcast.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna chew on that and formulate a well thought out, salient response, because right now I can only think of things that will get me in trouble. So, with that in mind, I'm gonna pivot to my ALC predictions.
Please,
because I agree with you in the bottom three spots. I don't have the White Sox overtaking the Twins.
Really?
I think for me, what gives the Twins is they have more experience on their roster in how to win a division, but they also have, I think they're going to be healthier. I think that some of their lineup, there were some lineup inconsistencies last year that I don't think are going to repeat themselves. And so while it will be close, I don't think the White Sox are going to be able to overtake them. I still have the White Sox in the playoffs, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit, but I don't think they're going to overtake the Twins to win the Central.
Very interesting. That's quite the take. I'm with you on the health thing. I think they've kind of built their team in such a way where they're able to kind of pivot away a little bit if they're struggling bullpen wise or struggling starter wise. And I know what you mean. I mean, they re-signed Nelson Cruz again. I think he's like 41 years old or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't see it. I'm not sure why. It may call it a gut feeling more over anything else, but it's again one of those things. Wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't count on it myself.
Yeah, he's 40. He'll be 41 July 1st.
Jesus, that's so crazy, dude. And he hit an ass load of home runs last year for only being 60 games, I think.
Dude, 100%. It was a pretty high ratio, I think.
What an ass.
All right.
What else? What other notes do you have in the Central? Cleveland's tearing all the way down.
Yeah, Cleveland is they're gonna eventually pick a new name, and then they'll be rebuilding until that point.
Yeah, it doesn't help that the ghost of Terry Francona that manages that team is sort of like You know what? I don't even want to get into all that. Take a look into that, folks, if you get a chance. Just what Terry Francona has been up to. Check that out.
Okay, that's good. That might be a segment for another pod. If that turtle rears its head in the water again, we might have to do some more investigating.
I don't particularly want to get involved in this one, to be honest with you.
Then you heard it not here. All right. So
I mean, if you ever know me to back away from a story for the most part,
that's why I'm moving on to the AL West.
All right.
Last year, the AL West broke down with Oakland overtaking Houston by 7 games.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Houston still made the World Series. Seattle was in the 3rd spot. The Angels were in the 4th spot. And the Rangers, my lowly Rangers, were in the 5th and final spot.
How many games did they win last year?
22.
Oh my God. It's so hard to like. So what was their win percentage? Just give me that.
It's 367.
367. Okay. I mean, it was a burn down year anyway.
They were the worst team in the American League and the 2nd worst team in baseball.
Yikes. But 60 games doesn't tell you anything. Like, that's the point. Like that. I don't know. Anyway. All right. So I'll go down my AL West here for you. I have the
I'm
Astros.
very interested in this one.
Okay. So I have the Astros winning this division still.
Okay.
90 games. They're going to win 90 games. They're going to lose 72. The A's are going to be right on their heels, though. They're going to win 88 and lose 74.
Okay.
The Angels are in 3rd place. The majority of people have the Angels winning this division. I have them in 3rd place, winning 86 games and losing 76. That's still an improvement for them. What was their win percentage last year?
Last year, the Angels won 433.
Yeah, that's definitely an improvement for them then.
Yep.
To get that far over 500 that quickly is definitely an improvement. I have the Mariners winning 68 games and losing 94, and I have the Rangers as the worst team in baseball as well, losing 63. Actually, the 2nd worst team in baseball for me. They're going to win 63 games and they're going to lose 94. And I only reason I say that about the Rangers is I think it's an intentional teardown.
I agree with what you're saying. That is an intentional teardown. And in fact, for most of the season, my Rangers shirt will actually be this Vandaliers in Rangers logo shirt that I will be repping for most of the season.
Good.
Yeah, because the T on my hat will mean terrible.
Terrible.
So my rankings are actually identical to yours. I too have the Astros in 1st, the Athletics in 2nd, the Angels in 3rd, Seattle in 4th, and Texas in 5th. I want to ask a question about the Angels, though, because when I was doing research, I like to see kind of who all is picking what and who all is picking where. What would cause Sports Illustrated to pick the Angels to win the AL West?
I think that they see the competition as a little bit more flat right now. Okay. I think people underestimate the Astros. So the Astros are in a spot where they lucked out like hell that a global pandemic happened right when it did. And they didn't have to catch all the shit last year, and they were able to kind of shake past that. I think that they're going to come out with a swagger, and I don't think people are even going to have any kind of inkling of a remembrance of the fact that they did that. I mean, it's going to come up, obviously, but like people will have moved on from that because that's not nearly as big of a story as some of the things that we've seen over the last year and change, right? So they benefit from that, which is unbelievably frustrating, but what are you going to do? My team benefits from it too, so I guess I can't really say much, but I'm just saying, like, at the end of the day, the team that got caught red-handed really kind of was able to stay away from the noise. I think that causes people to underestimate them a little bit. I do worry about them losing George Springer and some of the pitching and whatnot. I think that could play in, but I just don't think this division as a whole is going to be very good.
Yeah. So, yes, I also only have the Astros coming out of the American League. I do think the Athletics are going to make it somewhat competitive, and the Angels are improving, but just Texas is going to be so bad. And so it wouldn't surprise me if the Astros take 15 games from the Rangers this year.
Yeah. Again, I think it's pretty intentional, though. So I think that's probably what you're looking for. Is there sadness in your heart to watch Elvis in a A's uniform?
Not really. I like him. Good for him.
Yeah, for sure. But it sucks in the division, though. I know it doesn't matter and it's stupid and all that. It just still sucks.
I mean, quite honestly, my opinion of Elvis is good luck to him. Like I have no ill will.
It's been a good sport always here.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
As the resident A's fan here, I think that I'm excited to have him on our team.
Didn't Sam have season tickets and you're claiming to be the resident Ace fan? Yep, that's me, J-Mac.
Yeah, I mean,
not anyone else.
Look at that. A's right there. Come on.
Oh, that's perfect. We will, after we do our predictions, if we have time, we will talk about the Rangers opening weekend because there's some interesting news points worth talking about on that. Okay. But before we do that, we have an entire league to talk about. So let's go on to the National League. We're going to kick things off in the East. Just to refresh your memory, last year the Braves were the best team in the East, followed by Miami. What the heck happened? Third spot was the Phillies. Jimmy's Mets were in the fourth spot, and the Washington Nationals were in last place in the East. J-Mac, what you got?
First to worst for the Nats. That's a tough one for last year. But yeah, that Atlanta team is electric, and this is going to be the year that they're going to make a run. I've been telling you for 2 or 3 years now, just watch them. Just keep an eye on them and watch what Acuna does, watch what Albies does, watch what this team's going to do. This team's going to make a hard run. They made a real good run last year. They ran out of steam ultimately. It was tough in a 2 out of 3 game set there, but that one might have been 3 out of 5. I can't remember how it all was laid out last year, to be honest. I think they lost in the second round, though. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. To the Dodgers, though.
Yeah.
I mean, what are you gonna do? I think they're going to be better, though. So I have them, the Braves winning 92 games and losing 70 games.
Very respectable.
I have the Mets winning 90 games and losing 72. I have the Phils winning 84 games and losing 78. I have the Nats winning 82 games and losing 80, and the Marlins winning 74 and losing 88. The Marlins are an intriguing animal to me, I would say, because I think their pitching staff is all under the age of 26 and something like that. They're very young. They're very, kind of grinded out guys. They'll be interesting to watch. They've been bad for quite a while now. It's probably time we start seeing a little bit of fruit from those labors as far as the teardown goes. So I'm interested to see what they look like. The Mets have Francisco Lindor, and I think that adds instant credibility to a lot of their offense. That looks like they're going to get a long-term deal done with him, something in the ballpark of a $385 million deal over 10
Good
years.
Lord.
Probably still worth it, even if he plays for 5 of those. But
yep.
That we can talk about that next episodes. I think Jimmy needs to be in on that discussion, and hopefully it will have gotten done by then. But I think the last I saw is they were at 10 years, 385, and that was as high as they were going to go. I think he wanted 4, but I don't think they're going to do that.
That's actually what I make on this podcast is my 10-year salary. So
wait a minute. So when do you have an agent?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. It's Jimmy.
Oh,
Jimmy's my agent.
Wait, Jimmy's my agent.
Well, hang on.
What are you coming from? No. No. So I think, though, it's all going to come together. And I think the Mets have sat in this, they've sat in that dark hole of misery for so long. And I don't know that I believe in this year's Mets, but I believe in the Mets of the future. No doubt about it.
Man, oh man, J-Mac. Maybe it's because Jimmy couldn't join us this week. And maybe it's because I know that Syndergaard's coming back. But my ranking of the NL East goes as follows.
Ooh, okay.
I have the Mets overtaking the Braves to win the NL East. Drink some of that Kool-Aid. We are all going to Citi Field to watch a Mets game because they're going to win the East this year. You heard it here first.
We actually might do that, but we'll see.
Yeah, I have the Braves in the number 2 spot. Super close. I have the Nationals improving. I think they're over their World Series hangover. I think that last year was an anomaly. I think they're like, it's 60 games. We don't care. We'll have Fauci throughout the first pitch. That'll be the highlight of our year. Like, that was the Washington Nationals baseball season last year.
Juan Soto is the best player in baseball, and nobody really knows about him.
Right.
One of the best players in baseball, I should say.
I have the Phillies in the 4 spot, and the Marlins. I think last year was an anomaly. I think that they benefited from the short season, but unlike Houston, they got hot at the wrong time.
Correct. They got hot at the end.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at on the East. I do think that the Braves are going to be incredibly competitive, and it will not surprise me if you're right that they take the East. I felt a little daring on this one, but I wanted to give it to the Mets.
That'll be a battle, I think, no matter what happens.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next division.
Yeah. When in doubt, go for the pinstripes. So next up is the NL Central, and we have J-Mac is shaking his head. So for those that aren't watching the video stream, his head just probably got whiplash from shaking so hard at my last opinion.
That's a bad opinion. It's a bad take.
So anyway, NL Central for last year from worst to best, it was the Cubbies, the Cardinals, the Reds, the Brewers, and the Pirates. That's how it ended last year. What do you have for 20 and 21?
20 and 21. I have the Cardinals winning 85 games and losing 77. I have the Brewers winning 83 games, losing 79. The Cubs winning 82 games and winning 80. The Reds winning 73, losing 89. And the Pirates are the worst team I have in baseball, winning 56 games and losing 106 games.
Yeah.
That team is bad.
If the T on Texas's hat stands for terrible, the P on the Pirates hat stands for pathetic.
Pathetic. There's a player. I wish Sam were here because Sam would know the name of this guy because we talked about him before. I think it was an episode you were on, but Keona Kella is who I'm thinking of. Used to pitch for the Rangers, got traded.
Yeah, I was going to say, I recognize that name.
Yeah, and the dude blew up in the locker room a couple of times, and they cut him and whatnot, and we're done with him. Well, I saw that they're bringing him back, so I don't think that the Pirates are on the right track on this whole building a baseball team thing. I don't know that they have a handle on what they're doing.
Yeah, I think that I don't even know what they're doing because it feels like they could be writing a book right now that's called How to Rebuild Poorly.
Yeah, they don't seem to have any direction of any kind. I think they just hired a GM like within the last month. And it's like that seems like you waited too long to do that.
Yeah,
that seems like you probably could have done that last season.
That's not an impulse buy at the grocery store you want to make. You want to get that out there. Oh, cool. They won the World Series. We'll give them a week of celebration. Then we're making headlines by signing our new GM.
Correct. So
not like, oh, do I want Reese's Pieces? Well, it's a long checkout line. I think I'll get some Reese's Pieces.
Yeah, I think we got time. Are you offended isn't the right word, but is it offensive to you as a general rule to open up candy in line before you've paid for it kind of thing?
Dude, 100%.
Yeah, it's not.
In fact, when cool. I was working at a grocery store when I was in high school, and the lane went down. I don't know if the power went out or there was an issue, and the entire register just stopped working. And I'm checking, and my buddy Brian is bagging, and the dude, not who was right in front of me trying to check out, but the next guy in line was super agitated, pitching a whole fit. And the dude just cracks open a beer in the middle of the supermarket. And he goes, I'm going to pay for it anyway. And I look at Brian, and we're just misdemeanor? What's going on here?
So, with the beer, 100% with you. It's a little bit of a, I don't know what law is being broken there, but something probably was.
Yeah.
I understand the logic of it. I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole. It's not worth going down. But I understand the logic. There's nothing fundamentally flawed with the logic. It's just sort of because you are going to buy it. So what does it matter? But something about it seems not kosher to me.
Hey, I have a potential stat for you. We are wrong on Kella. He was making headlines, but the reason being Keone Kella signed a 1-year deal to play for the Padres.
Really? Okay, so I must have just misread that then.
Yeah, he was with the Pirates. He signed a 1-year deal in February to go play for the Padres. So I was right there with you. I had misremembered it, but yeah. For the sake of accuracy, I wanted to call it out.
We typically don't get to these things until 2 or 3 episodes later, so people should be, should be happy for what we're
To
doing.
fix one of our mistakes within 4 minutes of the mistake being made, like
Impressive.
that has to be some sort of a record.
Only when Sam's out of the office.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have the Central as follows. I'm going to give me the Brewers now that Yelich is healthy. Give
Okay.
me the Brewers, the Cubbies and the Cardinals battling it out, but Cubs over Cardinals, Cardinals in the middle spot, Reds, and then I completely agree on the Pirates.
This feels like you really want Christian Yelich to have a much better year for some reason that's completely unknown to everybody.
It has nothing to do with him being my first slot keeper on my fantasy team. I'm sure that those are not related.
They couldn't be, right?
But hey, you got to give it up to him. Like the dude is an absolute unit on the ball field.
No doubt about it. I love Christian Yelich. He looks like Pete Davidson. I mean, he's got all kinds of things going on.
Yep.
Hell of a guy, though. I think we already talked about the Cardinals a little bit. I do think they're going to be a lot better. I think they're going to be. I think that their pitching staff is really young as well. I think that they've got a lot coming up. I think they got Adam Wainwright to come back for another year. And I think that's going to be a good situation for him. He's always been like a kind of an average starter, but like always a pretty overall I would call it. Tell you what, look up his ERA. I'm gonna say he's probably hovers around the 6 area ERA career wise.
I'm gonna look and see the
Adam
reason.
Wainwright.
Yeah. So on Wainwright,
I'm gonna say 6.01, something like that. I've not looked at this, so
for per year,
career
WAR is 40.
No. Sorry, career ERA.
Oh, sorry. 3.38.
3.38, so a lot better than I thought. Okay.
Yeah. 2020 was 3.15.
I thought he had some tough years that would have inflated it more so than that. What was he in 2013?
2013 ERA was going to be 2.94.
Yeah, he was really good that season.
Yeah, his worst year was 2017, and it got as high as 5.11.
Yeah,
Well, that's not true. He had like a short season of 2 games, but where he played a meaningful number of games was 5.11.
Okay, cool.
The other thing I want to talk about just in the Central is the reason I think the Cubbies are going to be better is I think it's a mental thing because David Ross is their manager.
Yeah, he was there last year, but I don't really know how that all plays together as far as, having time to get to know things. I think that's a good spot for a new manager where it's just kind of almost like a trial run, kind of go through, see, get the rhythms down, see how it goes, and then kind of go from there. I think that they're really old though at the end of the day, and I think that that's going to continue to be a problem for them as far as age. And I can't really get past that.
Yeah, that's fair. Would not surprise me to see you correct on that one and have the Cardinals overtake them.
Did John Lester resign? I'm pretty sure he did, right?
I think
Yeah,
so. It's a short-term deal, though, I think.
Yeah, it's only like a 1-year deal, I think. So, I mean, he hasn't really been.
Actually,
great.
no, he went to the Nationals.
Oh, really? I guess I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. I'm sure batting will be his thing. Just saying.
I'm sure batting will be. Let's move west.
Are they doing the universal DH though? Seriously?
No, I have not heard.
Okay.
Last I had heard, that wasn't coming back, is what I heard.
Okay. Let's move to the West.
So, arguably the most fun division to watch in baseball this year. Last year, the Dodgers, Padres, Giants, Rockies, Diamondbacks. That's how it all went down. What do you got for this year?
All right. So I've got the Dodgers winning 100 games, losing 62. I've got the Padres winning 97 and losing 65. Those could honestly maybe be even flip-flopped. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I've got the Giants winning 79 games, losing 83. D-backs winning 73, losing 89. And the Rockies winning 60, losing 102. I think there's a significant drop-off in this division as usual. Yes. I think that's gonna play into some inflated records here, just like we always talk about with the Dodgers. But I think the Padres are going to be in the same boat this time. Yeah, and I don't know how that's going to come out on the other side for either of those teams.
I think these two teams are both going to be absolutely unstoppable. I have them the same order as you. I have Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Giants, Rockies. I think in the end, the Dodgers' experience is going to tide them over.
Yeah, it helps. It definitely helps. They have success on their track record in the recent past, as recent as this past year. But this is one of those things, and I would say this more about the Padres than I probably even would the Dodgers. They're really good on paper. Let's see how that plays out.
That's a heck of a burn potentially.
I think that less of the Dodgers though, because of the proven track record and success.
They've been to 3 World Series in a row and they won last year. It's hard to do that.
It's tough to do that. To even get there is tough. So I'm feel a lot less so confident in that than I would say about the Padres. The Padres make sense on paper.
Yep. Absolutely. The only thing that I think it's going to be the proven record of players getting better. Some of those younger additions, or maybe not young, but I think Betts is going to continue to get better. I think that players in that age, in that caliber, I think that will continue to strengthen the Dodgers.
You know what the worst part is?
That it used to be a Red Sox?
No, well, obviously. But the worst part is I don't disagree with that. Yeah. That take it all. And it pains me in every part of my body to know that they just let the guy walk out the door.
Yep.
But what are you going to do? When it's a pitcher or something like that, that's a different story. But generational talent. Mookie Betts is an incredible baseball player. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the Dodgers in that regard. Let me ask you this. So that's what the season looks like overall. What teams do you have? Let's just cap it with this. What teams are going to the World Series against each other in your mind? And who's gonna be surprising to you this year? Player-wise and team-wise. So those 3 questions.
So I actually have my World Series prediction. Got some blue chips in, just like always. I have the Dodgers taking on the Yankees.
Wow. Okay.
I think that the Yankees are pissed at the Astros. Rightfully so. Not more so than the Dodgers, but I think that the Dodgers kind of got a little bit of vengeance and the Yankees haven't had that yet. Plus, I think they're going to be healthier this year. So I do have them coming out of the American League. I don't think they're going to overtake the Dodgers, though. Give me the Dodgers in a repeat.
I kind of agree with that analysis. I think I agree with the Dodgers. I think that they're going to be on the NL side. I don't think, barring a really good run by Atlanta or something like that, I don't really know that there's a lot of other competition that's built the way that they are. I mean, it's a juggernaut, and it's an incredible study on how you continually build a team. And that's something that we're going to do this season.
Yeah.
We're going to do a deep dive into how they've done this. And I think it's
number one, a fat wallet helps.
It does, but there's a lot of homegrown talent.
Absolutely.
A lot of homegrown talent. So they've sprinkled that with the right times to spend. And I think that's worth discussing a bit more. Yeah. So I'm picking the Dodgers on the NL side. And I'm really conflicted about the AL side. I'm really, really conflicted. I don't think it's going to be the Yankees. I don't know why. Maybe it's a gut feeling. I could see the Blue Jays. I think on the AL side, it's going to be a young team that's going to make a run at this thing. And they're probably going to fall short there, is my guess. I'm going to pick either the Blue Jays here, and I'll come to a final answer, but I'm just kind of trying to work out my thought process here. I'm looking at the Blue Jays, and I'm looking at the White Sox.
So headline, that would be a great ALCS.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Incredible ALCS right there.
That's probably what we're lining up for, is my guess. I'm gonna ultimately side, if I had to pick one of those two, I'm probably gonna pick the side that has Tony La Russa on it. But I'm definitely not as confident about that as I am like the Dodgers. I think no matter who comes out of the AL, it's going to be tough to beat the Dodgers.
Yeah. No, it's a bold take. For me, my most surprising pick actually isn't a player. It's my manager of the year, who I actually have it typed out, Tony La Russa. I think that dude is going to be not the comeback story, but definitely the the sort of taking the scrappy rebuilt underdogs and turning them into a powerhouse. I do have the White Sox as well as the Blue Jays as my wild card teams, but I think that they will fall short. I would love to see them in the World Series, though. That would be incredible.
I think the manager of the year is going to be Dave Roberts.
Okay.
Showing the consistency after showing some struggles to close these things out. I think that finally getting over that hump last year helped him, number one. And I think he knows how to get to that team better than majority of managers as far as relationships wise goes throughout baseball. And I think manager of the year is going to be Dave Roberts again. I think he was last year too. I'm pretty sure.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll check it real quick, but just reconfirm. Is this the first year that you and I have agreed on our World Series winner?
Yes, for sure.
That's a dangerous precedent. Last year was Don Mattingly, by the way.
Oh, really?
Miami, yeah.
Yeah, they had a pretty good run there at the end. I could see that. Boy, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't feel like that should have been the case. I just don't respect Don Mattingly as a manager very much, but that's another story for another day.
What do you do?
I also think one other prediction I want to throw out there a little, just to let it kind of marinate on people's minds. I think that Mike Trout is going to have a historic season. And I don't just mean like his normal season, because that's pretty much every one of his seasons is historic. People are going to find out about Mike Trout more this year, I think. I don't know why. Just kind of think that.
Man, there is nothing fishy about that take.
Remember Bryce Harper?
Yes.
Remember when he used to be talked about as a baseball player?
Yes, I do. Now he just grows facial hair.
Just rips dingers all day long, man.
Not in Philly.
I'm looking forward to this season.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be fun.
I'm so excited that baseball's back in full.
I am too. We're going to do more remotes this year, I think, as far as, recording remotes. We're going to, try to be able to get together with people in small gatherings, and however we can do it safely. We're definitely trying to do more of that and really kind of connecting with folks and really trying to get back into the swing of how things go, so to speak.
Great joke.
Yeah, I figured you'd like that. And really try to figure out how to enjoy this thing again. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Me too. Welcome back, baseball. Opening day, Thursday, April 1st. It's going to be fantastic. Well, if you like what you're hearing, make sure to check us out. We are all over your social media. That's right. We are on Facebook. We're on the good old Twitter. We're on that old Instagram. Plus, you can even find us at our website, sensiblyloud.com, your one-stop shop for great content and entertainment. Don't forget to wash your hands. Go get your vaccine as soon as you can. That way we can all go eat too many hot dogs and drink too many beers together. Can't wait to see all of y'all out there.
Thank you, Ben. We'd like to thank everyone for tuning in for episode 136 of the Outfielder podcast. We'd like to thank all of our fans, Sensibly Loud Media, our sponsors, and those with the sharp eye to keep the runners close. Grounds crew, please keep patrolling that outfield. Pickups, Kevin Towers. Don't text and drive. We'll see you right back here next time on the Outfielder podcast.
We live by understanding of the world.